Where is Roger? Lizzie told me Roger was here and Jamie beat him. I told...
Looks like Outlander Season 8 might be missing a familiar face, even though, technically, that character should be part of the story, especially with this final season gearing up for what's being called the final battle. So, let's break down everything we know so far about what's coming in Season 8. Season 8 is going to be the big finale, right? But even though it's supposed to wrap everything up, one important character isn't coming back: Jenny Murray. And honestly, that feels like a bit of a letdown. Jenny is Jaimes' sister, and technically, she should still be around in this part of the story. But since the show has to make some pretty big adjustments to finish up its version of the tale, she's getting cut. Now, here's the thing. Season 8 is mostly pulling from Diana Gabaldon's 9th book, Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone. The problem? Gabaldon hasn't released Book 10 yet, which is supposed to be the final one in the series. So Starz has to figure out how to end the show without the actual ending. That means some characters, like Jenny, just aren't making the cut. Jenny popped up again in Season 7 when Jamie and Claire returned to Scotland, and fans got a nice surprise seeing her after so long. Originally, she was played by Laura Donnelly up through Season 3, back when the Frasers left for the Americas. But because Donnelly couldn't come back for Season 7, they brought in Kristen Atherton to take over the role, and honestly, she nailed it. Her performance really captured Jenny's essence, and it was great seeing her back on screen, even if it was short-lived. But that's apparently it. Jenny won't be returning for Season 8. Showrunner Matthew B. Roberts confirmed it, basically saying that if something doesn't directly affect Jamie and Claire, it's not getting screen time. Which kind of makes sense, but it's still disappointing for longtime fans who were hoping Jenny would join them at Fraser's Ridge eventually, especially after what she said in Season 7 about maybe heading there one day. What makes this decision sting a bit more is that Jenny had one of the most touching scenes in Season 7. In that graveyard moment with Ian, she showed him a grave she had set up for Isabel, his infant daughter who died in North Carolina. Jenny had never met the baby, but she created that grave at Lallybrook as a tribute, believing part of the little girl's soul still belonged there. It was such a heartfelt scene, and Atherton played it beautifully. That kind of emotional moment made fans really feel the loss of not getting more of Jenny in the final chapter. And let's be honest, it would have been really sweet to see Jenny reunite with Ian again in the colonies, especially with Ian and Rachel expecting a child. That could have been a powerful generational moment for the Fraser-Murray clan, but apparently if you want that closure, you'll have to turn to the books. Speaking of the finale, Season 8 is gearing up for some serious drama, and likely another major character death. That sounds intense, but there's a catch. Outlander already pulled a big fake-out in Season 7, which makes it a little harder to really hit audiences with another shocking twist. The show thrives on dramatic moments and emotional punches, but it risks repeating itself here. There's also the whole issue with the book series being unfinished. With only 9 books out and a 10th still in progress, the TV writers had to get creative, so they're basing most of the final season on Go Tell the Bees That I Am Gone and hoping it lands well. If done right, the story from that book could give Outlander a strong ending, but that's a big if. One of the biggest plot points? Jaimes' death. Again. Yep, in the 9th book, Jaime goes off to fight in the American Revolution, and the Battle of Kings Mountain becomes a central moment. History tells us that the Continental Army wins, but Briana finds out that Jaime is supposed to die in that battle. So naturally, Claire is crushed when Jaime doesn't come back afterward. She's convinced she's lost him for real this time. But then comes the twist. Jaime's not actually dead. Claire, ever the determined healer and supernatural soulmate, feels a flicker of life in him and manages to bring him back. It's one of those classic Outlander love conquers all scenes, and it's really powerful. In the book. Here's the issue though, the show already did something like this in Season 7. Claire thought Jaime had died when the ship he was supposed to sail on went down. She was an emotional wreck, drinking, isolating herself the whole spiral, but surprise! Jaime was alive the whole time. He just happened to take a different ship at the last minute. He shows up, redcoats chasing him and everything, and Claire breaks down laughing from the relief. It was a great moment, but it kind of takes the wind out of the sails for doing that storyline again in Season 8. In the books, these events are spaced out over a long period. Jaime's ship death happens in an earlier book, and the King's Mountain battle comes years later, which helps keep things fresh. But in the show, with both fake-outs happening one season apart, it might start to feel like deja vu. So, if the show tries to pull the Jaime might be dead card again, it risks feeling repetitive instead of suspenseful. And when your show is heading into its final season, you really want to keep people guessing, not have them roll their eyes thinking, he'll be fine again. That's why it might be smarter for the show to shift its focus. Instead of making Jaime's possible death the big moment, it could shine the spotlight on Claire's healing powers. After all, if Briana already knew Jaime's fate from reading one of Frank Randall's history books, Claire could have been preparing to save him for a while. That would add more depth to her storyline and give the audience something new to focus on rather than a repeated plot twist. Interestingly, Outlander Season 7 already hinted at Frank's influence. Briana was seen flipping through one of his old history books, the ones he wrote about the Scottish role in the American Revolution. But the show didn't zoom in on the book's title, and it quickly shifted focus to a letter from Roger hidden in the desk. After that, the book wasn't mentioned again. And that's kind of odd, because Frank's writings were a big deal in the novels. In the books, Briana finds a letter from Frank that warns her about a prophecy involving the Frasers. That's part of what convinces her and Roger to go back in time. She also learns from Frank's writings that Jaime is recorded as dying in the Battle of King's Mountain. It's like Frank was trying to guide her towards saving Jaime, a final act of love, even though he knew he wasn't her biological father. That angle really deserves more attention, especially now that the series is wrapping up. There's so much emotional weight in Briana's connection to both Frank and Jaime. She grew up with Frank, only learning about Jaime after Frank's death. And even then, she carried some guilt for getting close to Jaime, like she was betraying the man who raised her. But Frank, in his own way, gave her permission to build that bond. His research, his warnings, the clues he left behind, they all point to him wanting Briana to have the chance to connect with her roots. So, if the show is really going to stick the landing, it needs to bring that full circle. Let Briana find peace with both of her fathers. It doesn't have to be a big, flashy scene, just something that ties off that emotional thread. All in all, Outlander Season 8 has a lot to juggle. It's trying to wrap up a story that's still technically unfinished in the books, and it has to make some tough calls about which characters and moments get screen time. Cutting Jenny might make sense from a storytelling perspective, but it still stings. Repeating Jaime's death scares could fall flat unless the focus shifts to something more meaningful. And tying up loose ends with characters like Frank would go a long way in giving fans a satisfying farewell. It's a tough balancing act, but with the right focus and a little emotional finesse, Season 8 could still give this epic saga the ending it deserves. And that's what we have to say about Season 8. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.